And we saw U.S. jobs jumping 115,000 in April. It beats estimates, marking the first back-to-back gain in nearly a year. Joining us now, I'm pleased to say, is the White House Director of National Economic Council, Kevin Hassett. Director Hassett, thank you so much for joining. A strong jobs number, a beat. Let me just get your initial reaction.
Right. Well, 2 months in a row now we've had blockbuster jobs numbers. And the really interesting thing is that we look at these things that you guys do too, I'm sure, called heat maps, where you look by category, like where's the green and where's the red. And pretty much it was green across the board. And so what it means is it's a rip-roaring jobs market. And it's completely consistent with what we saw with the claims data just a few days ago, right? Like initial claims for unemployment insurance right now are the lowest since we've ever been counting them, all the way back to the 1960s. And so the job market is really, really, really strong.
Kevin, part of the issue, though, that people would focus on is the fact that the jobs creation is narrow. It's in issues like healthcare. Meanwhile, we saw financial jobs down, tech jobs down. These are exactly the type of categories you would expect if AI is having an impact on jobs in this economy. Is there a plan from this administration to combat job loss over AI's impact?
Well, right now what we're seeing is that AI is creating job creation. There are a couple of new studies out at the National Bureau of Economic Research that show, and one at Stanford University, that show that AI-adjacent jobs and AI-adjacent professions are actually increasing faster than everywhere else. But of course, in the medium to long term, people are right to be concerned about what might AI mean for them. But right now, the very, very best thing that you could do in order to protect yourself and to protect your career is start to use AI tools yourself to make yourself more productive. And that's what we're seeing in the data.
I guess, Kevin, will there be a point where the White House needs to address this? I've talked to many, many people who say that 2028, the election will be centered around AI and what politicians are saying about it. You're already seeing hints of it in 2026. Does there need to be a clear plan going forward if there are huge economic consequences of what AI does?
Oh, absolutely. It's something that's being very, very carefully studied by all of government. We've got 5 different work plans, depending on which direction we're going, what topic it is, whether it's AI in the workforce, AI in security, and so on. And these have been underway since President Trump took office, really. And so absolutely, we're working through policy options as we watch the data evolve. But right now, we're reassured to see that AI-adjacent jobs are the ones that are growing the fastest. And so the story that AI is destroying people's jobs right now is not anywhere in the data. But we can imagine things, especially once robots get better and better, then we're going to have more policies to help people reskill and so on.
So in the meantime, as you say, the figures are strong for this jobs market.
Yes.
Doesn't that essentially kill any hopes of a rate cut this year?
For me, I think that when we have a strong supply side shock, then that means that there's downward pressure on inflation, and that's what we're seeing. And in fact, even with the oil prices going up, excuse me for the big truck running by me,
okay.
even with the oil prices going up, you saw core inflation remain stable, and you could even see that in the wage data in today's jobs report, where there was strong wage growth, but not anything that was a sign of the kind of runaway Phillips curve inflation that should make the Fed want to lift rates.
Well, I suppose, Kevin, last time you were on the show, last Friday, after the CPI report, you mentioned that you were looking forward to a Warsh Fed chair because of the independence it would bring to the Fed. Since then, we've learned more about the dissents coming from the FOMC, that one of the language of the statement changed to take out any bias, any sort of easing bias. It was 3 dissents. You can make that 4 if you have Susan Collins adding, as she spoke to Bloomberg, saying that she agreed with that idea. Do you think that this is an FOMC, at least those 4 members, that are gearing up to push back against a Warsh Fed chair?
Well, I can tell you speak specifically about Susan Collins. I've known her since graduate school. She's an A-plus economist who goes where the evidence leads. I'm disappointed that these people made the decision that they did, but I'm sure that when Kevin Warsh is Fed chair, that he'll have lots of people that will be open to argument and open to evidence, and he's a very persuasive guy. I think Kevin believes, as I do, that a supply shock is a time when you don't have to lift rates just because you have high growth, and I think that he'll bring lots of evidence to bear and convince his colleagues. So I think we're really likely to see rate cuts this year because of Kevin Warsh.
Elsewhere, Director, last night the Court of International Trade once again declared unlawful president's tariffs, this time the 122 duties on imports. When does the administration plan to appeal this?
Well, I think that we're studying all our options right now, and Jameson Greer will have a message on that probably later today.
Are there any mechanisms in mind to keep those tariffs in place or any other stopgap measures?
I'm going to leave that to the trade lawyers for you.
Okay, fine. I guess there is this bigger question then, if we're going to leave that part to the trade lawyers. But the economic talks with China then, does this put the White House at a disadvantage as the president goes to have those discussions with Xi next week?
I don't think so. First of all, this affects, one corner of the trade policy. The strategy really is to finalize the deals that we have negotiated over the last year with 301s and 232s, two authorities that are basically ironclad in the courts. And so the job has always been for Jameson Greer to get ready to sort of finalize the deals with these much stronger authorities. We believe the IEEPA authority that we originally used was a solid authority and disagree with the court's decision that is forcing us to refund the tariffs. But we have a backup plan that is going to make sure that the president's trade policy is made a reality very, very shortly.
Okay, so a backup plan. Might we expect to hear something today, Director Hassett?
Excuse me? Oh, from Jameson Greer?
Yes.
You'd have to talk to him.
Okay, fair enough.
I spoke with him yesterday about it. Yeah.
Okay. I know it is fresh news, but again, to your point, the White House always looking for alternatives. What about when it comes to the Europeans? The president has sent this July 4th deadline to reach some sort of agreement. Does this also complicate things?
Well, I don't know if it complicates things. We've got lots of agreements with the Europeans, and they haven't really kept up their end of the bargain. And that has the president pretty frustrated. But my expectation is by the 4th of July that they will. And then we'll have this pro-American, pro-worker trade deal with Europe that has already been negotiated and agreed to.
Dr. Hassett, before I let you go, there's been this outstanding question of the debt piles in the United States and what that means going forward and the need to service that debt. We heard from Double Line's Jeffrey Gundlach speaking to Bloomberg TV saying that he was positioning for a world in which the government unilaterally lowers coupons on existing U.S. debt in order to manage those internal costs. I just wonder what you think of that. Might that be the direction that we head?
There's not a chance in a million years that this administration would ever do anything that looks in any way like a debt default. We believe in the strong dollar, and we believe in a strong fiscal responsible government. And so that's why we reduced the deficit last year by hundreds of billions of dollars. We reduced federal employment by the most it's ever been reduced. Actually, there are fewer federal employees right now in the U.S. Than there have been in any year since World War II. That's the kind of fiscal responsibility that lifts confidence in the debt. And, we're not done yet. And again, with the growth that we're seeing, the growth that was echoed in the reports today and last month, we absolutely are seeing the kind of growth you need as you had in the 90s to get the deficit under control. And that's our plan.
So, of course, no way to do a debt default, but might you look at restructuring it again in this way, maybe lowering the coupon, something like that?
There's absolutely nothing that we're going to do other than be fiscally responsible.